Good morning, children. Today I am going to start the class for 8th standard. The subject is English and the topic is the heavenly parasol. It is the first topic. It is the first lesson. It is the first prose, that is the heavenly parasol. What is the meaning of parasol? It is a lightning umbrella. It is type of a lightning umbrella. Now in this lesson we are going to see the beauty of the princess to whom she is going to marry, and after to whom she was married, what happens to him and what does he do and what does he become and where he is from, and at last where does he go and what does he conquer. Everything come under this lesson. First we are going to see that once there was a beautiful princess by name Amrita Prabha, and she was the princess of the town known as Prajotisha. And what happened? Amrita Prabha was the king of that town. When the Amrita Prabha came to the age of marriage, her father, what did he do? He arranged the Swayambara. What is in Swayambara? In Swayambara, the girl or the age of the marriage of the girl, she has a right to choose her husband. Due to her beauty was very much known to each and everyone, and the invitation was given throughout the nearby towns. So all the princes of the town came to get married to the Amrita Prabha. And the day came when the Swayambara was arranged, everyone came, and what Amrita Prabha did? She chose her husband as Megha Vahana. And she put the flower garlands. Garlands in sets. You will be seeing the marriage now. The bride and bridegroom, they will be exchanging the flower garlands. It will be in the flower and they will put in the neck. The same thing, she put the flower garlands in the neck of Megha Vahana. Who was Megha Vahana? He was the great grandson of the former king of Kashmir. So Amrita Prabha, to whom did she choose? She chose Megha Vahana as her husband. And after they got married, what did he do? He went to take the blessing of Amrita Prabha's father. He was the king. When this couple went to take the blessing of the king, when the king was about to come down from the throne in sense, the place or the chair which the king will be seated. When he was about to put his feet down, at once the priest started crying, means he started screaming to king. See, king, the sky, what is the sky? What is happening there? The parasol is coming and shading to Megha Vahana. What does it indicate? It indicates that one day Megha Vahana is going to rule the world. So the father of Amrita Prabha was very happy because the shade of parasol was giving the shadow to Megha Vahana, and this was a sign that one day he will rule the world. Who is the priest? Priest and the people, you know, the pujaris. Yes, those people are known as priests. And after they got married, they went to Kashmir. And in Kashmir, all the ministers and the people of that place of Kashmir were waiting for Megha Vahana. Why? Why? Because they wanted to give an opportunity to become the king of Kashmir to Megha Vahana. Why? Because the present king who was there, they were not satisfied of them. Why? He was not looking of them properly. So they offered to Megha Vahana to become the king. After some days, he agreed to become the king. But after becoming the king, he made the first law. What was the first law? Not to kill the living beings. That is sense, animals. Not to kill the living beings. And after some days, when he wanted to conquer Lanka. Who wanted to conquer Lanka? Megha Vahana wanted to conquer Lanka. Why? Because what was happening there? Many were killing the living beings. There was very much devil type people were like devils. They used to kill the animals. So what he wanted? He wanted to capture that Lanka, and he wanted to make the all animals free from them. So when Megha Vahana and his army troops were going to Lanka, what happens? They felt very much tired. When they felt very much tired, what did they do? They wanted to take rest. So to take the rest, what did they decided? They decided to take the rest under the palm tree. Under the palm tree. When they all decided to take rest under the palm tree, what happens at once? The king, Meghavahana, heard a cry. Kind sensed the voice of the man calling for help. What was the voice? It was for the help. So the man was crying and saying help, help. So once when he heard, he left it. It may be something what I am thinking, he thought, and he was just quiet. But again second time it repeated the same. What the cry of a man was heard to him, that to help. So what did Meghavahana do? Slowly what he did? He was going in the forest to search where the sound was or where the voice was coming from. So when Meghavahana was going, he saw a bushes of trees. He saw the bushes of trees, and when he went inside that, he saw the one of the barbarians. The people of barbarians, they are like jungle people, they don't have any culture, nothing. So what the barbarian was doing? He was catching a sword in his hand, and another man was lying on the ground. Another man was lying on the ground, and this barbarian was about to cut his head. So what Meghavahana do? At once he called, he screamed, "Why are you killing the man who is lying on the ground?" Then the barbarian says, "If I sacrifice his life to goddess Chandrika," that is nothing but the god, it was the god of Durga. It was the god Durga, and the temple where they were standing, that was the temple of Durga. So what barbarian said, if I am going to sacrifice his life to god Durga, she gives the life to my son who is on the death bed. Then what the Meghavahana says, yes, if you want to kill that man, don't kill that man. Kill myself. That is what Meghavahana said. You kill me. Because if you kill me, two lives will be saved. One is your son and another is the man who is lying on the ground. So the Meghavahana on and off started saying, "Come, kill me, kill me, kill me." Then at once, what barbarian do? He put his sword down and he put his knees down and started screaming and crying, "I can't give sacrifice your life." At once Meghavahana get angry. What does he do? He takes the sword and was about to cut his neck. When he was about to cut his neck, instead to chop his neck, what happened? The sword what was in hand, it was turned into the flower garlands, and it was, when the sword was here, at first it became the flower garlands and it was put in his neck, and the voice was heard from the back. The voice was of Lord Varuna, the god of seas. Who was Lord Varuna? He was the god of seas. So when he heard the voice from back, "Yes, I wanted to test you, whether you may help the person who is in need. And you have done, and you have helped the person who are in need. Just I was testing you. Now I want my parasol back." The parasol which shaded to Meghavahana was whose parasol? That was a parasol of Varuna, which was taken by Meghavahana's father's father-in-law. He was Bhuma. He was Bhuma who took the parasol of Varuna. Then what Varuna did? He asked Meghavahana to return. At once Meghavahana, he returned the parasol to Varuna. After returning, Varuna asked him, I wish I could give one boon to you, so you ask me whatever you want. Then Meghavahana says, "I want to conquer Lanka, because the devil type of people, what they are doing? They are killing the living beings. So I want to stop that. So that if I want to stop that, I have to conquer that Lanka. Then I want a boon from you, that I want to cross this sea, and I am unable to cross. How should I cross?" Then Varuna gives him the boon. "You and your army go and just step in the sea, and the water will split into two, and there will be the way to go to the Lanka." The same thing happens when Meghavahana goes and stands in the sea along with his army. The water split into two. Split into two means in the two parts, and the way becomes there, and they passes through the way, and they go to Lanka, and they conquer the city with the friendship with the king known by Vibhishana. He was Vibhishana, the king of Lanka, and the Meghavahana conquered Lanka by friendship. And after conquering Lanka, when he went back to Kashmir, when he went back to Kashmir, Amrita Prabha asked about the parasol. Where is your parasol? Then Meghavahana answered to her that the parasol has gone. Whose parasol it was actually? That does not belong to us. It was the parasol of God Varuna, and I have returned him back. When he was about to speak these words, and when he spoke the words, the sky became black, and the black of the parasol shade to Meghavahana. This indicates that he was the king who rules the world. With this, you will finish your chapter. After this, listening this lesson, you have to write your notes. Thank you.
गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स, आज मैं आपको पहला 8वीं कक्षा का पहला पाठ मैं आपको पढ़ाता हूं। इस पद्य में बच्चे भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं। क्या प्रार्थना करते हैं कि हे भगवान, हमें अच्छी मति दे, अच्छी बुद्धि दे, और छोटे बड़े मिलकर रहे, और किसी का अपमान न करे, और किसी को बुरा भला न कहे। इस प्रकार से भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं। और इसके अंदर फिर करे किसी का नापमान, एक रहे सद्भाव रहे। इस तरह से देश पर हम बलि बलि चढ़े। ये इसका एक सारांश है। अब मैं यहां पर आदर्श वाचन के साथ मैं आपको यहां पर इस कविता को पढ़ाता हूं। सच बोले, सच बात विचारे, भले काम पर जीवन मारे। हमें हमेशा सच बोलना चाहिए। बच्चे भगवान से प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं, हे भगवान, हमें ऐसी बुद्धि दे कि हम हमेशा सच बोले। भले हम अपने जीवन, सारा जीवन काम पर क्यों न मारे, सारा जीवन हमारा काम करते करते ही हमें रहना चाहिए, और मिलकर रहे नियम अपनाना चाहिए। कवि क्या कह रहा है? मिलकर रहना चाहिए, मिलजुल कर रहना चाहिए, और नियम अपनाना चाहिए। जो नियम होते हैं, रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस होते हैं, उसे हमें अपनाना चाहिए। जीवन के अंदर जीवन के जो नियम होते हैं, रहन सहन, कैसे जीना है, कैसे रहना है, हाँ, ये सब ये नियम है, इसका पालन करना चाहिए। और बीती बातों को बिसराएं। जो भी हमारे जीवन के अंदर जो बीती हुई बात होती है, जो बीता हुआ कल होता है, उसे हमें तुरंत बिसराना चाहिए, भूल जाना चाहिए। भूलकर अच्छे काम करना चाहिए, अच्छी दुआएं, अच्छी प्रार्थनाएं करनी चाहिए, और छोटे बड़े सब मिल जाएं, गिरे हुए को तुरंत उठाना चाहिए। छोटे बड़े किसी का भेदभाव न रखकर सब एक दृष्टि से हमें देखना चाहिए। छोटों को प्यार करना चाहिए, बड़ों का आदर करना चाहिए। ये छोटे और बड़े दोनों मिल जाना चाहिए। भगवान से बच्चे प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं, और यहाँ गिरे हुए को तुरंत उठाना चाहिए। जो भी गिरा हुआ व्यक्ति होता है, जो असहायक होता है, उसकी हमें मदद करनी चाहिए, उसकी सहायता करनी चाहिए, और उसे आगे बढ़ने का प्रोत्साहन देना चाहिए। ये भगवान से बच्चे प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं। और यहाँ करे किसी का ना अपमान, ऐसी ही मति दो भगवान। हे भगवान, हमें किसी का, संसार में जितने भी लोग हैं, किसी का हमें अपमान नहीं करना चाहिए, उनका इंसल्ट नहीं करना चाहिए। सबका आदर करना चाहिए। बच्चे देखो किस तरह से भगवान से प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं, हे भगवान हमें ऐसी मति दे कि हमें किसी का अपमान न करे, और तो हमें किसी का अपमान नहीं करना चाहिए, चाहे छोटे हो चाहे बड़े हो चाहे कोई भी हो, संसार के अंदर सभी का आदर करना चाहिए। छोटों को प्यार, बड़ों का आदर करना चाहिए, और एक रहे सद्भाव रखे हम। जितने भी लोग हैं, चाहे हिंदू हो, मुस्लिम हो, सिख हो, ईसाई हो, सभी एक रहे, एकता से रहे, यूनिटी एंड यूनिफॉर्मिटी कहते हैं अंग्रेजी में। तो यहाँ सद्भाव के साथ रहना चाहिए, एक रहे, कोई आपस में नहीं लड़ना चाहिए, चाहे हिंदू हो चाहे मुस्लिम हो चाहे सिख हो चाहे कोई भी, एक रहे, सद्भाव रखे हम, देश देश में मान रखे हम, सारे देश के एक ही पुत्र हैं, हम देश के पुत्र हैं, यह देश हमारा है, हम देश के बच्चे हैं। किसी देश में मान रखें, मान मर्यादा हमें रखना चाहिए, अपने देश की मान मर्यादा के साथ हमें जीवन बिताना चाहिए। किस तरह से भगवान से प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं, देखो बच्चे मान रखिए, मर्यादा रखना चाहिए, इज्जत करना चाहिए दूसरों की, और हट छोड़े, संयम अपनाएं, मातृभूमि पर बलि जाएं। हमें हट छोड़ना चाहिए, हमें जिद छोड़ना चाहिए। हट मतलब जिद करना, अब बच्चे जिद करते हैं ना, ये मुझे चाहिए, हट छोड़ना चाहिए। आज एक उदाहरण मैं आप देता हूं, उत्तर कोरिया के लोग अपने हट की वजह से हाइड्रोजन बम बना रहे हैं, ये हट है, ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए, विनाश का कारण बन सकता है। इसीलिए हट छोड़कर हमें क्या करना चाहिए, संयम अपनाना। संयम मतलब हमें शांत रहना चाहिए, शांति के साथ हमें जीवन बिताना चाहिए, और मातृभूमि पर बलि जाना चाहिए। अपनी जो मातृभूमि है, इस देश की जो मातृभूमि है, इस मातृभूमि के लिए हम अपने प्राण को त्याग कर भी क्या है, इस देश की रक्षा करना चाहिए। हे भगवान ऐसी मति दे, ऐसी बुद्धि दे, इस प्रकार से कवि, इस प्रकार से बच्चे प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं, भगवान से प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं। हे भगवान संसार के अंदर सबको अच्छा रख, ठीक रख, अच्छी मति दे, मिलजुल कर रहे, छोटे बड़ों का भेदभाव न समझे, और संयम अपनाए, बीती बातों को बिसराएं, और मातृभूमि पर बलि जाएं। इस तरह से कवि, इस तरह से बच्चे, इस तरह से भगवान से प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं। तो अब इस पाठ का सारांश ये है, इस पाठ का उद्देश्य ये है कि मनुष्य जीवन में सद्भाव का प्रधान स्थान है। बड़े का भेदभाव न रखते हुए सबके साथ मिलजुल कर रहना चाहिए, और किसी का अपमान नहीं करना चाहिए, और अपने देश के प्रति अभिमान रखना चाहिए, अपने देश के प्रति अभिमान रखना चाहिए, किसी का अपमान नहीं करना है। जीवन के अंदर, संसार में सभी का अधिकार है, सबका अधिकार है, यानी दूसरों पर अधिकार नहीं जताना चाहिए, अच्छी मति भगवान से मानना चाहिए, और हम सब सारे संसार में एक, हम सब इस संसार के प्राणी हैं, हमें भगवान से यही प्रार्थना करना चाहिए। तो बच्चों, मैं इसके प्रश्न उत्तर आपको यहाँ पर पीछे, यहाँ पर पेज नंबर 8 है, इसके जो यहाँ पर जो प्रश्न दिए गए हैं, पेज नंबर 7 के जो प्रश्न दिए गए हैं, इन प्रश्नों के उत्तर आप घर में लिखकर लाइए। धन्यवाद।
Good morning students, myself Prema. Today I am going to start the first lesson of the 8th standard, that is, the subject is science here, and the first chapter name is crop production and management. Before lesson, let us define the term that is crop. When the same kinds of plants are grown at a same place in a larger scale is known as crop. Okay. Based on, in India there are so many crops are cultivated, isn't it? Based on the climatic conditions like temperature, humidity and rainfall, crops are classified into two types. Those are kharif crops and rabi crops. Kharif crops means the crops which are grown in the rainy season. As the rainy season starts from June to September. Okay. The crops which are grown in the rainy season are called as kharif crops. Okay. For example, for the kharif crops are cotton, groundnut, soya bean. Okay. And now coming to the rabi crops. Rabi crops are nothing but the crops which are grown in the winter season. As the winter season starts from October to March. Okay. And the examples for the rabi crops are mustard and wheat, gram, peas are grown in the winter season. Those are called as rabi crops. And beside these rabi crops and kharif crops, some fruits and vegetables are grown in the summer season. Okay. Before going to cultivate the crop in the field, we need to practice some activities in the field. Listen to it. Farmers will play some activities in the fields. Those activities are called as the agricultural practices. Some activities are undertaken by the farmers in the field before going to grow a crop in the field. Those practices are called as agricultural practices. Listen to it. I had written here those practices. Firstly, preparation of soil. Preparation of soil is nothing but loosening of the soil or the turning of the soil, which is the loosening of the soil helps in the growth of earthworms. Listen to it. Earthworms are, as you already know that earthworms are the friends of the farmers because they provide humus to the soil which increases the soil fertility. Listen to it. The soil fertility leads to the growth of the healthy plants. Hence, we need to prepare the soil, that is nothing but loosening of the soil and turning of the soils takes place here. Okay. The process of loosening and turning of the soil are called as tilling and flowing. Okay. Tilling and flowing. The tilling and flowing is done by two machines. Those are called as flow and a hoe. That is flow and a hoe. Okay. Flow is helpful for the tilling of the soil. That is turning of the soil. Okay. The flow is made up of wood which is drawn by the two pair of bulls. Listen to it. It is having a sharp edge. The main body of that flow is called as flow shaft. Okay, which is fixed in the soil. Listen to it. It is drawn by a pair of bulls or some other cattle. Okay, and hoe. Hoe is helpful for removing the weeds in the field. Weeds in the field, and it loosens the soil. Loosening of the soil helpful in the growth of that earthworms and friendly microbes which are necessary for the growth of the cropping plants. Okay, and then next sowing of the seeds. Sowing of the seeds, because before going to sow the seeds, we need to take a healthy and good seeds. Okay. In tradition, farmers are using a traditional method to get a healthy seeds. That is, they are seeing the seeds in the water. Okay. The light seeds or the damaged seeds float in the water, and the healthy seeds sink down in the water. Then the seeds are sowed in the crop, sowed in the field. Okay. The sowing of the seeds is done by the machine called as seed drill, or using a funnel they sow the seeds. The funnel, when the funnel is filled with the seeds, it is containing the three pipes. Listen to it. Those pipes having the sharp edges which are fixed into the soil. Listen to it. When the funnel is filled with the seeds, it will move down to those three pipes, and then the seeds will be settled down in the soil. In this way, they are sowing the seeds. The farmers are sowing the seeds. Another modern machine they are using for the sowing of the seeds, that is seed drill. Okay. In this way, they are sowing the seeds. After sowing the seeds, they will add manure and fertilizers. These manures and fertilizers are given to the soil or the crop plants for the nutrients. As nutrients, they are giving this manure and fertilizers for the plants. Listen to it. Let us differentiate these two terms, that is manure and fertilizer, which increases both are given to the soil or given to crop plant. Listen to it. Okay. Manure. Manure, it is a natural substance which came from the cattle, decomposition of the cattle dung and plant residues. Okay. And but the fertilizer, it is an inorganic soil which is man-made. It is a man-made substance that is inorganic soil. Okay. It is prepared naturally. It is occurred naturally by the decomposition of the cattle dung and the plant residues. Okay. And for this fertilizer doesn't give the humidity to the soil, but the manure gives the humidity to the soil. Okay. And fertilizer contains the plant nutrients like phosphorus, nitrogen. Okay. It is containing plant nutrients, but it doesn't. It is less nutrient containing this thing manure. Okay. And manure is more advantageous over fertilizer because it is a natural substance. It is natural substance which is given to the plant as a nutrient. Okay, because it helps the water holding capacity of the soil, and it maintains the texture of the soil, and it makes the soil porous, very porously, because when the soil becomes porous, the exchange of gases will be easier for the soil. Okay, in this way manure is more advantageous over fertilizer. Both manure and fertilizer are added to the soil to for the growth of healthy plants, healthy crop plants. Listen to it. Okay, then now coming to the irrigation. After adding manure and fertilizer, we go with the irrigation. Irrigation is nothing but the supply of water to the crop plant at regular intervals. Okay, this is called irrigation. Irrigation is nothing but water supply for the crop plants. Okay, we are using the irrigation sources are here: wells, tubes, and ponds, lakes, rivers are the irrigation sources for the crop plants. Okay, in the traditional methods we are using chain pumps, Detley system, and Moth system as the irrigation facility, as to give irrigation facility to the crop plants. In modern method, we are using sprinkle system and drip system to provide water for the plants. Listen to it. Drip system, we are using in the drip system, water is moved to the soil by dropwise. Directly, it moves from that pipe to soil to the root only. Okay, and drip system is used for the fruiting plants. Okay, and then we are going with, after irrigation, we are going with the protection from weeds. Here, weeds are nothing but the undesirable plants which grow along with the crops itself. Okay, those are called weeds which compete with the crop plants for their nutrients, light, and space. It will compete with the crop plants, isn't it? Which is very harmful to the crop plants. Hence, we have to remove them. We remove the weeds from the weedy sites. Here, the term weedy sites denotes here weedy side. Side means killing. Likewise, insecticide. Insecticide means the side. Side means killing here. Killing the insects. In this way, weedy side means killing the weed. These are the weedicides are the chemicals which are used to kill the weeds. Okay. In this, we are killing the in this process we have killed the weeds by using weedicides. Okay. Now weeds are removed from the crop field. Okay. Then now coming with the harvesting. Harvesting is nothing but the cutting of the crop. Matured crop is nothing but harvesting. Harvesting is cutting of the crop. Matured crop is called harvesting, and it is usually done manually by the sickle. The sickle, we are using the tool that is sickle. You have already know about that. Okay, and then or using by a machine that is called harvester. We are using a harvester to cut off the crop. And here one more term comes, that is separation of the grains from the seeds is called threshing. Okay, the process of separation of grains from the seeds is called threshing. It is usually done by the machine called combine. Combine is a machine which is used for the threshing process. Okay, and we also use winnowing machine also. We also use winnowing for the threshing of the crops, that is harvested crops. Okay, and then after harvesting, we need to store the harvested crop. Listen to it. The storage is done in a very large silos and granaries. We used to store the larger scale grains. Okay. In this concludes the crop production and its management. After that, that is one more term comes, that is animal husbandry. Animal husbandry means in the rural regions where the people used to rear the animals like cattle. Cattle they are rearing, isn't it? When these cattle are reared in a larger scale, that is called as animal husbandry. Animal husbandry means rearing of the cattle and animals in a larger scale is called as animal husbandry. Okay. This concludes your chapter, that is crop production and its management. Thank you.
Yes, good morning students. Today we discuss about the first topic, that is rational numbers. Okay. See, before that first we have discussed basic concept, that is first one natural numbers. Natural numbers means the counting numbers are called natural numbers. Means the numbers begins from 1 are called natural numbers, and natural numbers can be represented by capital letter N, and this can be written as N is equal to power bracket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. Okay. Next, that is whole number. Whole number means the numbers begin from 0, or the natural numbers including 0 are called whole numbers. Whole numbers can be represented by capital letter W, and this can be written as W is equal to power bracket 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. Okay. Next, integers. Integers means the both positive and negative numbers including 0 are called integers, and integers can be represented by capital letter Z, and this can be written as Z is equal to power bracket from middle 0, from right side positive number we have to write positive number, that is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. From negative side we write from left side we write negative numbers, that is -1, -2, -3 and so on. The next one, that is rational numbers. Rational number means the numbers in the form of P by Q. If the number in the form of P by Q, that type of number we call it as rational number. Rational numbers can be represented by capital letter R. See, if the numbers in the form of P by Q are called rational number, here P and Q, see, P and Q belongs to integer and Q is not equal to 0. Here one condition is there, P and Q belongs to integers and Q is not equal to 0, means denominator is not equal to 0. Next one, that is the properties of rational numbers. Okay, in that first one, there is closure property. Okay, let us take one example. Let us take the value of A, that is 3 by 8, and B value, that is minus 5 by 7. Okay, see, if we have these two values, okay, see, that is 3 by 8 plus minus 5 by 7. Okay, see, that is here 3 by in this fraction, in this term 3 by 8, 3 is called upper term and 8 is called lower term, means numerator is 3 and denominator is 8. First we have to take the LCM for denominator. See, here 8 is there and here 7 is there. The LCM for 8 and 7 is 56. Okay, if you simplify, we get, see, 8 7 is 56 and 7 8 is 56, means 7 3 is 21 plus into minus 8 5 is 40. That is 40 minus 21, that is minus 19 divided by 56. Means rational numbers are closed under addition. See, minus 19 by 56 is called rational number. Means rational numbers are closed under addition. Next, take the value of A minus 5 by 7 and B value 2 by 3. Okay, subtract these two numbers, we get minus 29 by 21. Means rational numbers are closed under subtraction. Okay, if you subtract any two rational number, we get rational number. Means rational numbers are closed under subtraction. Next, take A value minus 2 by 3 and B value 4 by 5. If you multiply these two fractions, see, if you multiply these two rational numbers, then we get minus 2 by 3 into 4 by 5. Okay, multiply numerator by numerator. See, minus into plus, minus 4 2 is 8 divided by multiply denominator by denominator, that is 3 5 is 15. Means we get minus 8 by 15. Means rational numbers are closed under multiplication. Okay, here the division is not closed under the division is not closed. Okay. Next, commutative property. In that first one, take a value minus 2 by 3 and b value 5 by 7. If you change the order, see a plus b is equal to b plus a. Okay. See, if a plus b, we get value 1 by 21. If you change the order, see 5 by 7 plus minus 2 by 3. If you change the order, we get same result. Means a plus b is equal to b plus a. Means the rational numbers can be added in any order. The addition is commutative. Okay. Order ನಾವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಏನಾದರೂ rational numbers ಗಳನ್ನು ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay. Means the rational numbers can be added in any order. The addition is commutative. Okay. Next one, see subtraction, that is take a value 2 by 3 and b value 5 by 4. Okay. Subtract this rational number, then we get minus 7 by 12 and change the order. 5 by 4 minus 2 by 3, we get result 7 by 12. See here minus 7 by 12 is there, here plus 7 by 12 is there. Means a minus b is not equal to b minus a. Is it right? A minus b is not equal to b minus a. So that's why subtraction is not commutative for rational number. Subtraction is not commutative for rational number. Third one, that is multiplication. Let take the value, let a value minus 7 by 3 and b value 6 by 5. Simplify multiply numerator by numerator, that is minus into plus, minus 7 6 are 42 divided by 3 5 are 50. Okay, change the order, 6 by 5, see, and into minus 7 by 3. Okay, that is minus 42 by 15. Means we get the same result. Means a into b is equal to b into a. Means multiplication is commutative for rational number. Okay, but division is not commutative for rational number. Okay. Next, associativity. In that first one, addition. Okay, let us take value a value minus 2 by 3 and b value 3 by 5 and c value minus 5 by 6. Put the bracket for second and third number. We get minus 20 by 10 and put the bracket for first and second term and write third term as it is. We get minus 9 by 10. Means a plus b plus c is equal to a into b plus c. Means addition is associative for rational number. Subtraction is not associative for rational number. And third one, multiplication. Okay, see the multiplication is also associative for the multiplication is associative for rational numbers. Okay, next, the role of 0. 0 is called the identity for the addition of rational number. And next, the role of 1. The role of 1 is the multiplicative identity for rational number. And next, that is negative of a number. Negative of a number. See, 2 is the negative additive universe of minus 2. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ 2 ಗೆ ನಾವು minus 2 ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ 0 ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹೌದಾ. ಸೊ a by b is the additive inverse of minus a by b ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, next reciprocal ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Reciprocal means see 8 by 21 is reciprocal ಆಗುತ್ತೆ 21 by 8 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, yes, so thank you sir.
Good morning children. Last year you have studied 7th standard, so now you are in 8th standard. So first I welcome you all for high school section. Okay children. So my name is Miss Salma. I am going to teach you people social studies subject. So here in social studies subjects you have 6 divisions. In 7th standard you have studied only 3 divisions. So now you are in 8th standard, so you are going to study 6 divisions. In that first is history, political science, sociology, geography, economics and business studies. So here first part is history. History, what is meant by history? History, here in history we will study a past events. And Herodotus was the father of history. And in here the first lesson in 8th standard, first lesson is sources. everything we want for construct a building. Same thing here. If we want to study a sources of history, sources means these are basic materials which we learn from this lesson. Sources are divided into two types. What are the two types? First is literary sources. Another one is archaeological sources. What is meant by literary sources? Literary sources mean what we'll write on the board, what we'll write on the board, what we'll write on the pillars, everything we called as a literature. And many people, they wrote many books also. So here, next thing is archaeological sources. What is meant by archaeological sources? In archaeological